this started. I want to be respectful of y'all's time. Welcome. Good afternoon to the webinar on the 4 mindset shifts of becoming an influencer. And I know I said good afternoon. I also know that there are people from all over the world watching this, and it may be morning, night, or afternoon to you. I don't know where you're at in that time zone, but I want to say welcome. Whether you're watching live on Facebook, live on the webinar, or catching the recording, thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. My name is Corey Lee. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business builder and a leader developer. I do one-on-one coaching. I do mentoring, leadership training and development, and also do speaking. And I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here. One of the things I know about time is our most valuable asset, because it's one of the things we'll never get back, right? And anytime we do anything, what we are doing is we are literally trading our life for that activity in that moment. And here's my goal, is because you are trading your life to be here, is to make this a worthy trade of your time. And if I can just give you at least one thing that you can take to apply to yourself, to grow your team, to make a positive influence and a difference in the world around you, then hey, I'm telling you, that is a win in my opinion. So that is the goal for today. And I promise you're not going to want to miss the ending too. I've got something incredible I want to share with you. I'm super excited about that. I've got 2 opportunities, amazing opportunities for your own growth and development that I want to share with you. One's geared primarily towards men, and then the other one's open to the world, and they're great, and I'm excited about sharing it with you. But before that, I really am excited about what I'm going to share with you today, and we're talking about the 4 mindset shifts of an influencer. And these 4 mindset shifts are things that I have experienced in my own life, but also as I've worked with leaders and all kind of fields and settings and varieties of leaders. These are the 4 mindset shifts that we've had to make in order to go from where we were to where we wanted to be. And I think as we get going, I think the first thing that we have to do is define what an influencer actually is, right? Like, what's an influencer? And if you went to my friend Google, and you typed in influencer, you would get 274 million results. 274 million results. And here's the definition that they come up with. I want to read this out to you. An influencer is a person who guides or inspires the actions of others. And I like that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But I want to give you my definition of what an influencer is. So as we get going today, we'll all be on the same page. And what an influencer is. An influencer is becoming the type of person that other people willfully follow because of who you are and what you represent. It's a leader. It's the beingness of a leader. It's becoming the type of leader other people willfully follow because of who you are and what you represent. And today's the 4 mindset shifts of becoming that type of leader that other people willfully follow, right? And I really am excited to share that with you today. And before we do, though, I think it's important to, give you a little bit of my background, give you my story, because I think that'll answer the question of who's this little short guy that has invited me to this webinar, and maybe gain some credibility with you as well. So I told you that I am an entrepreneur, and I do coaching and training, but my background is actually in the medical field. I am a physical therapist assistant, and my wife and I, we've opened up a couple of physical therapy clinics. We've opened up some gyms and a few other businesses, but I was born and raised in a small town in North Mississippi, and I was raised at an early age by my mom and my grandmother. And that was because when I was 3, my dad, he left, and my mom thought she was going to be raising a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old on her own. But she wasn't on her own. She had my grandmother. And I can still hear my grandmother's voice to this day. She would say, these two grandbaby boys of mine, they ain't growing up to be no sissies. They ain't growing up to be no sissies, right? We would be at her house, and she would say, boys, yo, get out here. we'd get up, we'd walk through her house, and we'd go out on her carport. And y'all, she would have her car jacked up with the driver's side tire laid over, and she'd say, pick it up, put it back on. And I'm over there, I'm like 5, I'm trying to lift this tire, and I can't even budge the tire, I'm 5, right? And she would have us in her bathroom with the plunger just hovered over the toilet trying to, unclog this unclogged toilet. There was nothing wrong with the toilet. But she was living out that old John Wooden quote where he says, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare, right? She wanted us to be ready for when the tire was flat. She wanted us to be ready for when that toilet was clogged up. And my mom and my grandmother, they loved us. They did the best they could, but it was really in that environment that I was programmed to believe certain things. I was programmed to believe things about you, and I was programmed to believe things about me and my potential and what I could and could not do. I was programmed to believe that if you lived in this big old house with a swimming pool and a little twirly slide that goes down into the swimming pool, then that meant something about you. And if you lived in that little bitty old rundown shack, then that meant something about you. I was programmed to believe that if you wore those cool new Jordan shoes, then that meant something about you and your character. But if you wore that Walmart brand with the little Velcro across the top, then that meant something about you. I also was programmed to believe if you went to a certain kind of church, that meant something about you. You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Well, I was also programmed with some sayings. Sayings like, you got to be in the right place at the right time. You don't need to take risks because it's better to be safe than it is to be sorry. Yeah. But the saying that really affected me the most was stay humble. Stay humble. And the reason that affected me the most in a negative way was because I had the wrong definition of what humility really was. See, I thought humility was thinking less of myself and downplaying the gifts and the talents and the abilities that God freely gave me. And several months ago, I heard Adrian Rogers, he was teaching on humility. And I don't know if you guys listen to Adrian Rogers or not, but he's got some really great stuff. And one of the things that he was saying, he was teaching on humility. And he said, humility is a form of rebellion. Humility is a form of rebellion. And I was like, yeah, that's interesting. And he said, see, most of us, we've all got these gifts and talents, and most of us think once we let those gifts and talents shine, then that's arrogance. But Adrian Rogers said, no, that's not arrogance. That's awareness. And the moment you step in and you don't bring that forward, the moment you step in and you decide to settle for something less and you decide to hold back, then that's rebellion against the gifts that God has freely given you. And I was like, wow, what a ding, ding, ding moment that was. But I didn't think like that back then because my definition of what humility was my definition of humility was incorrect. And here's what humility really is. Humility isn't thinking less of yourself, but it's thinking of yourself less, right? And I didn't think like that back then. And it really wasn't until I had a teacher in school. She came up to me and she challenged me to do something I had never done before. She challenged me to get outside of my comfort zone. And I see Danny and Charles and Carl and Tanny and Latrice and a couple other people on the call. And, it wasn't anything major or big, but I tell you, this lady, this teacher, she was always on my case. She was always on me trying to get outside of my comfort zone. And that's because she could see something within me that I could not see even within myself. And her title was teacher. Really, she's a leader, because that's exactly what a leader does. They see talent and potential within other people, and they extract that talent and that potential. And what she challenged me to do wasn't anything big or major, Tanny. It was to run a 5K, a small little fun run. But I tell you, at that time, I played high school baseball and football. We did not get up on a Saturday morning for some fun run, right? That didn't make any sense. Playing high school baseball and football, we only ran for punishment. But because I liked my teacher and I respected my teacher, I decided to go do this race. And I can remember doing this race and crossing the finish line. As I crossed that finish line, they put this little finisher's medal around my neck. And this thought just popped into my mind. I just ran 3 miles without stopping. I wonder how much further I can go. I wonder how much further I can go. And that 3 turned into 6, 6 turned into 13, 13 turned into 26, and 26 turned into 31. I ran a 31-mile race on the beach in the sand in Destin, Florida, and I won the thing first place overall. And after that race, this other thought just popped into my head that I just ran further than I thought was even possible. Didn't even think you could run that far. I just ran further than I thought was possible. I wonder what other areas of my life might I be holding back in. I wonder how much further I can go. I wonder what else I can do. And I continue to ask myself that question to this day. That question has led to multiple businesses. One of those, a small little physical therapy clinic in a town of 1,100 people, 1,100 people. In 2017, we sold that business. And at the time of the sale, we were billing out over $2 million a year in a town of 1,100 people. And I share that with you because one thing I know about every single person that is on this live Facebook, that is on this webinar, is that you have your own unique gifts, your own unique talents, and your own unique abilities. And this world needs your gifts, your talents, and your abilities. This world needs you to be an influencer. This world needs you to be an influencer that impacts this world, the world around you, and the world that you're called to in a positive way. And I want to show you today the 4 mindsets in order to do that. So if you're ready, let's jump in. Hey, I need a little bit of feedback. I love live stuff and love some feedback. So if you're ready, I need you to put it into the chat. If you're ready, say, I'm ready. I'm ready. Are you going to put it in the chat? Let's see. Put it in the chat. I'm ready. Or you can give me a little fire emojis or the thumbs up. That's what I'm talking about. I'm ready. Okay, here we go. I'm ready. All right.